Okay, Mr. Doors, is there anything you'd like to say, sir?
Yes, sir. I have two letters here. The first one is for Judge Hammer and Dwayne's family. It reads, Dwayne became my higher power. He became someone I could depend on and somebody I could trust. Through all my struggles and my confessions, he never judged me once. He said if I needed to talk during the night and to wake him up. He understood addiction and he understood me. Dwayne was a great man. He was caring, kind, compassionate, honest, and selfless. He knew the big book front and back, and he loved AA. He believed in our program. That's what connected us, and it's a connection that I love. Without him, my condition wouldn't have improved because in my addiction, it's life or death. And he became my sponsor when I had nothing left. I was in the middle of a relapse when we met. I went to an AA meeting with garbage bags full of my stuff. I was living on the streets. After the meeting, it appears that he wanted to meet me. I was a little reserved, but I agreed, so he came to my hotel and played cribbage with me. He must have seen that I needed his help because he stuck close to me and paid for hotels and let me stay at his apartment. I came to the AA program during my first prison term and I started working the steps. It said that I needed to make a confession of my wrongs to another person, but I didn't have a sponsor. Dwayne became that person that I trusted with my fifth step. I admitted to God, to myself, and another human being the exact nature of my wrongs. I prayed for that moment and didn't hesitate with him. I didn't let it heal me, though, as I relapsed shortly after. He was patient with me, though. That was Dwayne. One thing that worked that got me sober from alcohol was going to meetings, so he would pack me in his car and we'd go to the 218 Club for meetings. We'd go to 3 to 4 a day and it helped me stay sober. I enjoyed that time we spent together, and the time at those meetings gave me meaning to my life. On Sundays, we would work the steps through the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book, along with reading the Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book. Dwayne bought me my own copy. I'd read it twice already. I'd read it twice already, but I love reading it again and finding new meaning and enjoying stories. He was a good AA sponsor. When I moved in with him, we would hang out all the time, and it was never dull. We went to dinner, we went to the mall, we would go to Goodwill. We went to Somerset to the train and REO Speedwagon concert. We went on camping trips, celebrated the 4th of July, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Our time was unforgettable, and I think of those good times to cope with feelings of guilt from what I did to him. He taught me gratitude, and the little things can bring comfort when you're going through tough times. When I'm having urges or have a tough time coping, I remember he always used to tell me, pray on it and let go and let God. One day, Dwayne said he wanted a dog. I thought it was crazy. He had a lot going on, but we went to the Humane Society and I tried to keep an open mind. A woman approached us and asked Dwayne if he was looking for a dog, and she would give it to him for free. I knew Dwayne looked at it as a sign from God. He said it after that meeting. We met Benji, and I admit I didn't warm to him right away. He was determined to get Benji, though, and I'm happy that he did because I came to love Benji. I take him for walks and was always happy to look after him with Dwayne. When Dwayne asked, he loved spending time with Dwayne, and Dwayne loved spending time with him. He was a good dog, like my little brother. I regret what I did to him, and I think about it every day. Sorry for what I did to them. I wish I could give you some peace, but I'm torn up inside. What I did was horrible, and I can't imagine the nightmare I put you in. I hope that one day you can find peace. I spend my days reminiscing and thinking about what I did. My doctor says that I'll have guilt for life. And some days are harder than others. I think about ending my life sometimes. Some days I find inspiration and I write poetry. Some days I don't even get out of bed. I found the time to get a certificate from a course called Parenting While Incarcerated, which helped me stay connected with my daughter. She says she lost her dad, and when she found out about what I did, she says she feels like her life was ending. I put my family through a nightmare, judgment, hard times, and anger. But I tell her there is hope if I get enough treatment and get well. I'm sorry for murdering Benji and Dwayne. I'm guilty for what I did, and I deserve the punishment for the crimes I committed. Sincerely, James Storr, Jr. And I have another one. This one's for Dwayne. How could I, a wretch, see God shine so bright like you, see him in the stars, a golden angel so soft and innocent? I dread looking back at what I did. The day I took you away still keeps me up at night, and it should. The ultimate sin turned me into a killer. Thank you for always watching over me. I don't always have my thoughts right, but I know it's right to say I'm sorry for you and Benji. I'll live every day better than the last to become a better person and let go and let God in my life. You are loved, and I pray to God that you have found peace and that nothing is bothering you anymore. I shed tears for an angel. Nothing means more than your life. I'm guilty man sinner. Nothing can take back what I did. One day I find forgiveness and I meet you at the gates of heaven. The world can see you smile through your kids' faces, and you'll forever be in my heart. I'd give anything to have a summer back camping with you. You're a funny man. You put the cool in Cool Whip. I can look at you in my head and look at the peace and calm, and it gives me relief. Knowing you made it to heaven, I will always remember the advice you gave me to be honest, open-minded, and willing. Also to pray and put my troubles in God's hands, because only His are big enough to carry them. You're a good man, a good father, a good sponsor, and a good friend. Rest in peace, my friend, and let God take care of you now. Love always, James Christopher Dorr, Jr.
Thank you. In issuing any sentence, the court has considered the seriousness of the crime, your character, the need to protect the public. Because the matters you have been convicted of are felony offenses, the court is to consider additional factors as outlined in State v. Gallion. In order for those Gallion factors to be met, the court is to avail itself of additional information, collateral information. That includes the pre-sentence report. I've reviewed that. That report contains a tremendous amount of information that's certainly relevant to what I'm sentencing on today. It also gives me some insights to your mental health, which is relevant not only for the NGI resolution on the homicide and the animal death, but also certainly relevant in the matters that I'm going to sentence you on into the prison system. I've also considered the educational accomplishments that you've attained since this matter has started. I've certainly considered the victim impact statement that was written and submitted, and the NGI reports that were prepared by two experts during the pendency of this case. So I think I have enough in front of me to craft an appropriate sentence. You know, today is a sad day, and I think it's a frustrating day for the victim, for the family of Dwayne, the people who knew him and cared about him. This person sounded as if he was a wonderful human being, a friend, a sponsor. He opened up his home to Mr. Dorr and I presume others to try to help them overcome the demons of addiction and perhaps overcome the demons regarding mental health. He lost his life in an attempt, I think, to help others. And that's such a terrible outcome for a human being. And the reality is that two experts who are very well versed in the area of mental health and insanity defenses have found that Mr. Dorr was unable to understand the nature of his behavior. He was unable to conform his behavior to the expectations of the community. And as such, he's not being sentenced on the homicide, and he's not being sentenced on the murder of that animal. As a result, there's a feeling or a perception of a lack of accountability. And I think that's frustrating. That is, though, the reality, that in our system of law, we do not criminalize or punish people who do not understand, to have the mental ability to understand the nature of what it is they're doing, and do not have the mental ability to conform their behavior to the standards that our community has. There's little doubt that Mr. Dorr has had a long-standing and significant mental health problem, which has affected most of the contacts and aspects of his life. It is not a justification. It's an explanation for why the court cannot today proceed in sentencing or using a sentencing analysis on the homicide finding and on the murder of animal finding. I'm not prepared, though, to agree wholeheartedly with your argument, Ms. LaPlante, that this is simply a mental health case. I don't think it's quite that simple. You know, when I look at the prior criminal record, I'm concerned that it is more than mental health. There's a lot of people in our community that have mental health concerns or issues, a lot of people in our community that deal with that in different ways. They receive treatment. They are productive members of our community. That's not the case for Mr. Dorr. He has a significant criminal record, at least for the past 10 or 15 years. That would include thefts, disorderly conducts, resisting or obstructing in the past. He's charged and convicted of that today. In the past, he's participated in criminal damage to property, violations of court orders, multiple bail jumpings, possession of drug paraphernalia, felony escape, felony possession of methamphetamine, misdemeanor possession of amphetamine, as recently as 2022. So I can't conclude this is a case in which Mr. Dorr purely has a mental health problem and that that's the sole thing that we're focusing. I just don't think that's the case. And to be frank, I mean, had Mr. Dorr not been a drug addict and had not engaged in those criminal activities, I don't know that he would have ever met the victim in this case. I don't know that he would have ever had contact with the sponsor. I don't know if the sponsor would have ever opened up his home to Mr. Dorr. I can't separate those. That's part of who Mr. Dorr is, and those behaviors are concerning. Right? They're inconsistent with the expectations of the people that live in this community. They are law violations according to our legislature, and they put the public at risk, independent of the mental health conditions that Mr. Dorr has clearly suffered and desperately needs treatment of now and in the foreseeable future. In light of what's in front of me, I'm now going to issue the following sentence. It's very similar to what is very close to a similar recommendation by counsel. First, as it relates to the count 1 and count 2, court will enter an order of commitment. I will make a finding today that the defendant is not guilty of count 1, intentional homicide, use of a dangerous weapon, count 2, mistreatment of animals, use of a dangerous weapon, and is found not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. As a result of those felonies committed as to count 1, the court will confine the defendant to life. As to count 2, the court will confine the defendant to 3 years, 6 months, concurrent to what I just did in count 1. This is a consecutive sentence. Court will post 0 days of credit. He is committed to the Department of Health Services for the remainder of his natural life, pending further proceedings. The commitment will commence subsequent to the defendant's period of confinement on the matters in which I'm sentencing him on today. As it relates to the matters that I am sentencing him on today, the defendant stands convicted of possession of methamphetamine. It's a Class I felony as a repeater. As to that count 3, court will sentence the defendant to 3 years initial confinement, 2 years extended supervision, 3 and 2. As to count 5, the misdemeanor resisting or obstruction, the court will sentence the defendant to 1 year initial confinement, 1 year extended supervision. Those sentences are concurrent to each other. They are consecutive to any sentence he is currently serving. The court contemplates adopting the joint recommendation wherein the defendant would first serve the initial confinement that I just suggested, or just ordered rather, and subsequent to service of that initial confinement, he then will be transferred to Mendota Health Services to begin his life sentence under supervision by the department. In the event that the defendant is released to any form of extended supervision, he'll be subject to terms: a compass assessment and any necessary follow-through, a mental health assessment and any necessary follow-through, that he take all medications as prescribed to him by his healthcare providers, that he have no contact with the victim's family, including Sandra Vanden Oven, that he participate in an AODA assessment, any necessary follow-through, that he maintain absolute sobriety from all drug and alcohol. In addition, while not requested, I'll order that he have no contact with known drug users or drug dealers. I'm going to order that the cost of this matter be waived. I want to see if there's any request for restitution. I want restitution to be paid as a primary obligation. He will have obligations while on supervision and as part of the prison term, and I want him to satisfy those obligations. I will deem the defendant ineligible for any programming while he's placed in the institution. What have I neglected?
Could I just clarify, Your Honor? Did you say that the NGI commitment on count 2 is consecutive to the NGI commitment on count 1?
I did not.
Okay.
But I didn't say anything. So the NGI commitment on count 2 is concurrent to the NGI commitment on count 1, and that was the court's intent.
Thank you. The only other question I had for clarification: how long is the court holding restitution open for?
I'll hold the restitution open for a period of 30 days. My sense is that the victim's representatives are not asking for restitution. I want to give them an opportunity to confer with victim witness, to make sure they have an understanding what that word means. So I'm going to hold it open for 30 days.
Thank you.
Ms. LaPlante, anything I've neglected?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Schoenecker?
No, thank you.
Thank you all. This matter is concluded.